Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and I'm an attorney that assists physicians with employment contract and independent contractor agreement issues. Today I'm going to talk about physician employment contract versus independent contractor agreement opportunities. So what are the main differences between the two, and then what are some red flags that you need to be aware of? So first, the main difference is if you're an employee, you'll receive a W-2 at the end of the year. Taxes will be taken out of any of your compensation. You should receive benefits, so health, vision, dental, life, disability, retirement. They should kick in for your licensing board fees, DEA registration, sometimes associations and societies. So meaning if you're an employee, you're usually working full-time, they should provide you with benefits if they offer them. There are some small physician-owned practices that simply don't offer benefits, or at least not all of those benefits. Whereas if you're going to work for like a hospital or a healthcare network, there's almost no scenario where you wouldn't receive kind of the full panel of benefits. So that's as an employee, what you can look for. As an independent contractor, you'll receive a 1099 at the end of the year. No taxes are taken out of your compensation. So whatever the arrangement is compensation-wise, you'll receive the entire amount. And then it'll be up to you to take care of the taxes in the future. Normally, as an independent contractor, it shouldn't be a full-time position, or at least normally it isn't. You will unlikely to receive benefits. Any of the things that I already said about an employee. Sometimes the practice will pay for your underlying premium for your malpractice insurance, but if it's a claims-made policy, you may be responsible for tail. The IRS lists kind of a 20-factor test on whether someone is an employee or an independent contractor. I find most of the time the organization, if they're pushing someone to be a 1099 independent contractor, it's normally not because their actual duties fit within that kind of independent contractor description. It's just so they can get out of paying employment tax. Some of the factors involve, does the physician have complete control over their schedule, about when they work, kind of where they work, the patients they see, all of that type of thing. Whereas most of the time, and specifically in anesthesia and derm, I find most of them are categorized as independent contractors. But the organization is telling them, here's when you're working, here are your hours, you're going to use our facilities, our admin staff, all of the things that they kind of have complete control over the physician. I mean, not the actual practice of medicine, but just kind of the other parts that go with it, and you're probably not truly an independent contractor. So what are the risks of that? Well, the IRS or the state can do an audit and then determine that someone has been misclassified. So if you're a 1099, they could say, no, you're actually, your duties, your description, everything that you're doing is leaning employee, and therefore we're going to determine you have been an employee, and they can do back taxes, penalties, fines against either the individual physician or the practice itself. Now, the contract's important because there could be language in there that states if there is some kind of misclassification issue, if penalties or fines or back taxes are assessed, that the physician would be responsible for all of that, and you absolutely don't want that language in your independent contractor agreement. If they're pushing you to be an independent contractor, you shouldn't be fully responsible for all of those, kind of negative effects if you're reclassified. So make certain there is no language in the contract that states you have to pay for their attorney's fees, any fines, any penalties, all back taxes. It could be extraordinarily expensive for a physician if it comes to that. So that language cannot be in there. And in fact, it should be the opposite. The practice should be the one that's responsible for all of those things. Is one job better than the other, meaning one, being an employee versus a 1099? It just depends upon the position. I mean, if you're truly, like I find someone who would be truly independent contractor would be like a physician who does telehealth, and the telehealth company, has an EMR where it's just a queue system, meaning the doctor can log in whenever they want, just snag a patient from the queue and just do it that way, and then log off whenever they want. That's a true independent contractor. Or maybe you're just filling in once a week or a few times a month, then yeah, you're likely an independent contractor. But if you're working full-time, 9 to 5, every day for an employer in the same office at the same time and the same staff, and they're giving complete support, then I don't know, probably unlikely that you're an actual independent contractor in your duties. All right, if you have any questions about being an employee or an independent contractor, feel free to contact my law firm at the information listed below in the description, and I appreciate you watching the video. All right, thanks, take care.